Right, talk about messages being on your path. This sign has sort of just come up, never seen it before, until a couple of days ago. Stonehenge pedestrian entrance to your right over there, which I've been saying there's a pedestrian entrance over there, is always open and unlocked. And then on my path, just the other day I was coming along, and this notice has gone up, this planning application notice. And I was like, well, I wonder what that's about, because this is National Trust land on this gate. So I took the application number, went online and sort of discovered what it's all about. I also, which is important, I went on this one to see the variation to the condition of 27, and I entered that with FUL, and nothing came up. And I've seen on the documentation that's actually been put on wrong. It should be FULL, so full. So I need to go and check that now, later on today. See, but from what I've established, this notice shouldn't be here anyway, because it's regarding the application of the permission for the cycle path and footpath along the old highway of the A344, and that is up here, not over there. That's National Trust, so that confused me. And what's really peculiar, well, strange, I say it's strange. I've written this letter to English Heritage on the email, asking a number of questions, and they're all questions that sort of came to my mind. It's like, for me, it's like Roy Walker's catchphrase, you know, you gotta say what you see. And oh, you're close, but it's not quite right. But I tell you what, I've actually been pretty bang on with all my observations and the questions I asked, because apparently that planning application is meant to be, because when English Heritage got the original permission to do this, apparently they're meant to put a footpath and a cycle path along this route right the way to the end. So I've been bang on right with that, and the reason they're asking for an extension to it is because apparently the grass on the far side is not well established enough to have a footpath. Not well established enough. And we're going to have a look at that in a minute. But the thing is, on the grounds of extending it, it's meant to be a cycle path and a footpath. Now, there's not been a cycle path implemented along here, and you see it goes from the new centre all the way along to where the old centre was, which was over there, all the way along right the way to the A303, which I've been highlighting. But still, 4 years in, there's still not a cycle path along here. So I can't see there's any grass that needs to be established for that to be in place, at least to this point. But let's go and have a look and see about their reasoning for the other one. Right, lots of love. Step into England's story. Okay, we're at Stonehenge again. I was just over by the entrance over there. And this is the old highway where they've put the grass on now. And as you can see, looking quite closely, does that look established to everyone? And the reason that they want this variation to restrict public access for another year is because apparently the grass is not enough well established for a path to be on it. Well, strange one, really. Anyway, we'll have a look further down. Lots of love. Right, we're here at the end of the other end of the highway where it goes on to the A303. As you see here, just there, this little bit here. So the grass on this part of the highway is okay to walk on, is well established enough to walk on. There's a gate there that leads to it and a gate out, but apparently this part of the grass is not established enough to walk on, and it's this part that English Heritage are applying for a variation in their planning application to restrict access for another year, based on the grass not being established enough to allow public access. Well, I think, in the words of my nan, I think English Heritage might be pulling a fast one here. What do you think? Lots of love. Right, and here's the last ridiculous thing about this variation and the application for an extension in the planning application for the restriction of public access. On the original access plan, there's meant to be a a cycle path implemented. Now, if there's a cycle path or a cycle track, then I would assume that would have to be either tarmac or some kind of cinder trail. So whether the grass is established or not is irrelevant to the cycle path or the cycle track. It's irrelevant. So that's another nonsense as far as I can see. And here's the thing, all I wish to do is on a sunrise walk over to that hillstone, place my hand on it and say a prayer, and I could probably just about reach from where the old fence was. Just about, maybe. But if I was to do so, exactly what law would I be breaking? That's the question. Lots of love. Okay, this is the documentation I got online, and this is from Chris Blanford Associates, solicitors, I guess. Dear Adam, Stonehenge Environmental Improvement Project, variation of condition application. Now, first of all, I find that very interesting. Stonehenge Environmental Improvements Projects, right? So this is what's gone on. There was a centre here, which they've got rid of, and they're improving the environment, apparently by building a bigger centre on a greenfield site with a bigger car park and more access, while neglecting to deal with the environmental issues of a former sewage pipeline going across the circus and a septic tank still being left buried at the former visitor centre. So, and because of the closing of this road all the way along here, the environment along the old byway is being destroyed because all the traffic for people who want freedom of access are now coming along the byway, because they've got a right to be there, when if the highway was still open until this point, then this erosion of the byway would not be taking place. Oh, but then again, in the future I'm going to say, oh, justify the closing of the byway because of the erosion. Is that what's going on here? I'm just speaking out loud. But I would say there's enough room along this old A344 to accommodate a cycle path, a public path, and parking bays all the way along it, with passing spaces. Because it's not a thoroughfare, people are not going to be speeding. But there's so much ample parking along there, and that would mean that the people don't really want to drive along the byway. It's only because it's their only freedom of access now. So, in terms of the environment, if you really care about the environment, that was not so bad, as long as there was public access along this path. Closing that was fine, but this needs to be reopened for public access if you can really care about the environment, you know. And then you probably don't need the buses or the centre or the car park along here. Didn't need that in the first place if you did that. So, anyway. That's the Stonehenge Environmental Improvements. So, on behalf of English Heritage, please find enclosed a variation of conditions application in relation to the above. The application seeks to approve to vary condition 27 of planned information S/2009/1527/FULL on the letter. It just says L, 1L on the notice, the public notice. Which I couldn't get that online, but now I can see if I put that I should be able to get it online. Dated 23rd of 6, 2010 for the decommissioning of existing visitors facilities and a section of the A334, the erection of a new visitor centre, car park, coach park, blah blah blah. You can look at that online. Then we have the Wiltshire County Council Planning Consultation Response. Application 17/0028/VAR, variation of condition 27 of S/2009/1527/FUL. That says FUL there, but that says FULL there. Strange one. I couldn't get it online, so there's something not right about that as far as I can see. To allow a further year for the proposed permissive path to establish itself prior to it being open to the public. Stonehenge Visitor Centre, Mrs. Kate Davis. So that's that one. And then we have a letter from the Ministry of Defence, and I don't understand how they're in the consultation about an A road being closed at Stonehenge. But anyway, they've replied. Thank you for consulting the Ministry of Defence regarding the above variation of condition 27 of S/2009/1572/FUL, that's with 1L. Which was received by this office on the 23rd of the 3rd 17. I can confirm that the MOD has no safeguarding objections with respect to this. I mean, why would they? Fair enough. Yeah, why would they? So that was that. But if you go online, there's online comments, and there's already some nice comments. There's some very good comments. This one's from Mr. David Hassett. This variation appears to be yet another delaying tactic being employed by the applicant, who has by now had nearly 4 years to achieve the original conditions relating to the permissive pass, notwithstanding the regrettable issue with regard to using low-grade asbestos-contaminated material for the topsoil after the A344 tarmac was removed, and various subsequent procrastinations and attempts to circumvent the requirements. There seems no genuine motivation to deal with the matter. Restoration of chalk grassland is in very close proximity by the National Trust's own specialists have been very successful, so this request for yet another deferment could be construed as a deliberate attempt not to meet the original planning application's conditions. Pedestrians and others entering the site from Stonehenge Bottom are presented with a very unwelcoming sight, and the fencing is more akin to that found in an urban restricted area environment. I consider the applicant should be held much more to account, and if there is a further request for deferment, enforcement action should be taken. Very well said, sir. That's online. Another comment which was up yesterday, day before yesterday. This is from Mr. Paul Timlett. I would like to object to this variation in the strongest terms. English Heritage has had nearly 4 years to comply with the requirements to complete a pedestrian and cycle route along the whole of the A3344 before the development is occupied. English Heritage has not had an independent agronomy report on the state of the grass, so any comment that the grass is not yet established is purely a matter of conjecture. To any reasonable person's eye, the grass appears well established, so there can be no excuse for further delay. I am extremely concerned that this variation, when combined with variation 17/01217/VAR, will lead to further variation requests requesting a permanent waiver for the requirement to provide a route for pedestrians and cyclists. I'm seeing that too, fella. I'm seeing that too. Delay, and then you lose the. I saw that. You lose the right to go down there. So I'm going to make a comment, and if anyone else feels that wherever you are in the world, this is a worldwide issue because it's Stonehenge. It's not just an English issue. It's not just about English people, but this is going to be my objection on the online comments with regards to the English people. Okay, that's what I'm going to write later. I object to the variation on the grounds that the path should not be classified as permissive, because I contend that the path's correct classification should be that of a public right-of-way, and as such, public access should be established no matter what the state of the grass may or may not be. I feel that the words, deeds and actions of English Heritage are unacceptable to the free spirit of the English people, and that English Heritage should be held to account for their infringements on public liberty. So, you go online, go to the Wiltshire Council Planning, part of their website, where everybody matters, and just find your way, have a look for yourself. Hope this has been informative, lots of love.